On August 6th, 1945, a single bomb erased 80,000 human beings in 7 seconds. But that wasn't the beginning of the horror, it was the end of it. The real horror had been building for 6 years, across every continent, in frozen fields, burning cities, and behind barbed wire fences whose names we should never forget. 70 to 85 million people died, and the story of how it happened is more terrifying than you think. To understand World War II, we have to go back to how World War I ended. In 1918, the Allied powers crushed Germany with the Treaty of Versailles. Massive territorial losses, a gutted military, and war reparations so brutal the economy collapsed. People were literally wallpapering their homes with banknotes because the wallpaper cost more than the money. In that chaos walked Adolf Hitler. He didn't seize power in a dramatic coup. He was elected. He told a broken nation, "You are great, you were betrayed, and I will fix everything." By 1934, he was a dictator. By 1935, he was rebuilding the military, and the world just watched. He swallowed Austria, then Czechoslovakia. No shots fired. Britain and France kept saying, "Fine, take it, just as long as you don't start a war." British Prime Minister Chamberlain flew home from meeting Hitler, waved a piece of paper, and declared peace for our time. Yeah, about that. September 1st, 1939. Germany invades Poland. Britain and France declare war, and the World War II has begun. Now, here's what most people don't realize. There was at least 3 moments where the entire war could have gone the other way. 3 decisions that changed the fate of the planet. I'll point them out as we go, so stick around. Germany's strategy was called Blitzkrieg, lightning war. Combine air power, armor, and infantry into one overwhelming punch. Don't let the enemy breathe. Poland fell in 5 weeks. Denmark, Norway, and the Netherlands, Belgium, all gone within days. Then came France. France had the Maginot Line, a fortress wall along the German border, supposedly impenetrable, so Germany went around it. Through the Ardennes forest, a region French generals said was impossible for tanks. France surrendered in 6 weeks. A global empire just gone. With France falling, 400,000 Allied troops were trapped at Dunkirk. Then something strange happened. Hitler ordered his tanks to stop for 3 critical days. In the miracle of Dunkirk, 338,000 soldiers were evacuated, many by ordinary civilians in fishing boats. Hitler then launched the Battle of Britain, the first war fought entirely in the air. The RAF was days from breaking, but after a small British raid on Berlin, Hitler got angry and switched targets from airfields to cities. The London Blitz killed 40,000 civilians, but it gave the RAF time to recover. Britain survived. The invasion was called off. Then Hitler did one thing every strategist warns against. He invaded Russia. Operation Barbarossa, 3.8 million soldiers, the largest invasion in human history. At first, it worked brilliantly. The Soviets were caught off guard. Entire armies were destroyed. He was convinced Moscow would fall before winter. It didn't. The Russian winter hit like a wall. Minus 40 degrees, soldiers freezing in summer uniforms. Engines dead and weapons jammed. The Eastern Front would become the bloodiest theater of the entire war. 26 million Soviet citizens would die. That number deserves a moment of silence. Meanwhile, Japan had been conquering its way across Asia. To secure the Pacific, they needed to knock out the American fleet. December 7th, 1941, Pearl Harbor. 2,403 Americans killed in under 2 hours. Japan hoped America would stay out of the fight, and they were dead wrong. The sleeping giant was awake. I have to pause the military history here because war isn't just about territory. In January 1942, Nazi officials sat around the table, calmly planned the systematic murder of the Jewish people. They called it the final solution. 6 million Jews were murdered, shot, gassed, starved, worked to death. Alongside them, millions more, Roma, disabled people, POWs, political prisoners, etc. 11 million human beings erased. That wasn't a side effect of war. It was an industrial machine built to destroy human life. And we tell the story because we must never forget it. By 1942, Germany and Japan controlled more territory than almost any force in history. They seemed unstoppable, but they weren't. Stalingrad, August 1942 to February 1943, the most savage urban combat in history. Room by room, wall by wall. Hitler refused to let his 6th Army withdraw. The Soviets encircled them. 91,000 Germans surrendered. Only 6,000 ever made it home. Stalingrad was the beginning of the end. In the Pacific, American codebreakers cracked Japanese communications and ambushed their fleet at Midway, sinking 4 aircraft carriers. From there, it was a brutal island-hopping campaign. Guadalcanal, Iwo Jima, Okinawa, each one in a bloodbath. June 6, 1944. D-Day, the largest amphibious invasion in history. 156,000 troops storming 5 beaches. At Omaha Beach, the first wave was a slaughter. Some companies lost 90% of their men, but they kept coming, and by nightfall, they had a foothold in France. Germany and Panzer reserves that could have crushed the invasion, but Hitler was asleep, and his staff was too afraid to wake him. By the time tanks deployed, it was too late. From here, Germany was caught in a vise. Soviets from the east, allies from the west, Paris liberated. The Battle of the Bulge, Hitler's last desperate gamble, had failed. By April 1945, Soviet forces were in Berlin. On April 30th, Hitler killed himself in his bunker. But the war wasn't over. August 6th, Hiroshima, 80,000 dead instantly. August 9th, Nagasaki, 40,000 more. August 15th, 1945, Japan had surrendered. World War II was over. 70 to 85 million dead. More than half of them were civilians. Entire cities turned to rubble, but from the ashes, the United Nations was built. The Marshall Plan rebuilt Europe. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights was written, born directly from this war's horrors. We study this war not to glorify it, but to understand it, because the forces that created it, nationalism, hatred, economic despair, the cult of the strongman, didn't die in 1945. They're still here. And the only defense against them is remembering. If this video taught you something, hit subscribe. I've got more stories to tell you. See you in the next one.